Hey, what's up, lifelong learners? It's your boy, Mr. Heng, back with another review. And today, we're going to review this camera right here. It is the Olympus OM-D E-M5 Mark II. I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, and I really love this camera. And then there's some things I really hate about it. And then there's some things that I would like to debate / recommend to Olympus. But before I get into all that, I just wanted to let you know that the links for all the products are in the descriptions below. Anything that you purchase through Amazon, I will get a small commission, and that commission goes straight to my classroom. And I just want to thank you for the support ahead of time. And I love you. So what is the first thing that I love about this camera? It has to be the size. It's just so small, so compact. I've gotten so many compliments about this camera. Now this camera is so small. I combine it with the 12mm 2.0 and it's just, look at the size of this thing. It's so small. It fits into my camera bag, like this one right here. It's like super small, but just imagine I don't have the straps on, okay? And I have this strap here. I just hang it just like that. Get it? Hang it. Just like this right here. I just pull it out whenever I want and I just use it. I'm ready for vlogging and I'm ready for photography as well. I love the size of this camera. The next great thing about this camera is the color science. And I know that we can sit around and debate about color science for days, for weeks, for months and years and so on and so forth. But this camera, when I set it to the natural profile, it just works right out of the box. I don't really have to color grade and I don't really need to do a lot of exposure correction because I do the exposure correctly the first time around, and there's just less to do in post-production for the color that you want from this camera. It's just simple and amazing both for photography, and it's very good for video. I'm not going to say it's amazing for video, but the colors for video is also really good. The next thing you'll love about this camera is the customizability of all the buttons. Well, I shouldn't say all the buttons, but a lot of the buttons. And I find the most useful thing for me as a photographer and vlogger is this right here. Let me pull it out real quick. So here we are. See that lever right there? I can switch that lever and turn it into a custom function to switch between photo or video without having to do the twisty knob here. It's just the twisting dial. I'm not a fan of switching it from photo to video mode. And I just love how I can just, bam, click that switch and I am in video mode. And all these buttons up here, you can customize. I'll probably make a separate video on how I customize it for the way I work because I like to customize it how Canon and Panasonic works because that's where I came from. Okay, so this part right here, you're gonna think I have gas because I have two different 12mm. I have the Panasonic 1.4, there you go. And I also have the 12mm 2.0. And look at the size difference. Oh wait, I can show you the size difference right here. Look at that. But the image quality in low light from this is so good. At 1.4, I was able to walk around a parking lot, shoot at 800 ISO, and you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to show you right now what that looks like of me walking around in a parking lot on Christmas Eve looking for a place to eat. Currently recording at 800 ISO, f1.4, shutter speed 60 of course, because I'm shooting at 30 frames per second. And here, I'm hoping, oh, it's catching my face. There. Ding Garden. This is what the wife sent me to find. And they are pretty open. So yeah, I'm gonna tell them to come over here instead because we don't have to wait for food on Christmas Eve. Another good thing that I really like about this camera is the audio. The audio is so good when I pair it with my Rode Mic Micro. And I took this to the beach and it was just like, whoa. I'm gonna have like 4 footage for you to watch. Just watch and listen. Currently I'm walking on the Huntington Beach Pier. There is no wind noise reduction on, but audio is set to -10. This is me just walking towards the wind. But I'm gonna turn around, get some backlighting, and then I'm gonna face the microphone against the wind. Nice little sun flare there for you guys. Yeah. Okay, well anyways, I wanna know what this sounds like and see if it works well at all in the wind with the Rode Mic Micro. I'm about to switch to the windscreen limiter on and see if the audio sounds okay. So this is the wind noise reduction on low and facing away from the wind. But let me turn the microphone towards the wind, and again, sun flare here. See if you guys can still hear me okay and if the wind is way too loud. But then again, this is set on low. So I'm gonna turn this off and switch it to standard. So I'm back again, facing away from the wind, putting this on wind noise reduction on standard, facing away from the wind. But now I'm gonna face the camera towards the wind and see how this sounds when the wind noise reduction is on standard and I'm facing the wind. This is wind noise reduction on high and the camera is facing away from the wind. I'm about to turn around and then get the camera facing towards the wind and the microphone towards the wind and see if this high noise reduction is actually reducing any noise right now from the wind, and you can hear my voice clearly. So it should be interesting to see how this turns out, because I have no idea what this sounds like right now. I just see like the meters, the audio meters just going up to the reds right now when it's set to -10. The other thing that you'll really like is the swivel screen. Coming from a GH5, oh, I'm so happy about this swivel screen because look, I can shoot this way. And I was actually shooting like this when I was at a shoot for a pizza place. They hired me to do some photography for them, and I was like, you know, I want to get a vertical shot, but this portrait shot doesn't work out too well when I'm, you know, when I'm like this, and then I turn the camera like that, and I can't really see what I'm doing. So all I did was flip the screen down just a little bit, and I just got the right angle. It's amazing. You can do, you know, low angle when you're flipping it down like this, and you can hold it down. Here's another thing, totally creeper mode. But you know, when you're walking around doing street photography and you're pretending like you're playing with your camera, but when you're really using that touch feature to take photos, you're doing street photography and people just don't know. But keep that a secret between me and you. It's such a creeper mode. Anywho, the swivel screen, thumbs up for you, Olympus, for putting it in there. It just works really well. Now I'm gonna get into some stuff that I really don't like about this camera. First off is the audio sounds really bad when I pair it with my Sennheiser AVX, this lav mic right here. It's just way too loud. No matter how I do my setting, it just doesn't play well, and it's just super loud. That's one thing I don't like about the audio, but when I pair it with the Rode Mic Micro, just all you gotta do is put that setting down to -10, you're good to go. Okay, so another thing I don't like about this camera, or I actually hate, I mean, I guess if you love something, you might as well go the opposite extreme and hate, is the non-ability to do auto ISO in manual mode. But in aperture priority and shutter priority for video mode, there's auto ISO and that's it. There's no other ISO when you put it in those modes for video. I kind of find that strange to not have those abilities in there. I mean, I get it. It's not like a flagship camera, but at the same time, it's just like firmware, you know? It's not like a physical feature or anything. It's just like something they can just throw in there that was really easy to do. At least I think it's easy to do. Put it in the next firmware update, please. Or put it in the Mark III version, because I know that's gonna be coming out soon. It's 2019. This camera is due for an update, so please. Okay, so another feature that I find annoying and I hate is when I switch between photo and video mode always just seems a little bit brighter. I don't understand why that is. So I've kind of done my research on it, but I still haven't found anything. So if you know why, please leave it in the comments below, because it bugs me. It looks one way when I'm in photo mode, but then it looks another way when I'm in video mode. And that kind of throws me off because I think my settings are messed up. So if you know, leave it in the comments below. Thanks. Another thing I hate about this camera is that I am not allowed to do a lot of custom function buttons for video. And I find it very strange that when I'm recording video in manual mode, I have to touch the screen to be able to adjust my settings. And I feel that that slows me down. What I hope is that maybe there's a firmware update, or they'll probably put this in the Mark III version, like an ability to also use the dial instead of having to touch the screen, adjust your settings, and then start recording again. It just breaks the flow of working, and being able to adjust the dial to modify your exposure will be a whole lot easier. That's just something again, Olympus gods, please. I think my biggest hate about this camera is that it has a shutter, it has an f-stop, but then like when I'm trying to change ISO or white balance, there's no button to do that. What I have to do instead is I have to reprogram some of the buttons to be able to make it work. I'll go through one. I personally have to do this. See this button right here where it says HDR? I programmed that button to do ISO and white balance. So when I click the button, my front scroll wheel will scroll through the ISO, and then my back scroll wheel will scroll through white balance. And then I click on it again and I toggle it back to shutter speed in the front and then apertures in the back. So if there was like a button already there, that would be better than having this HDR mode, because I don't really use it. HDR, it's useless to me unless I'm shooting JPEG, but most of the time I'm shooting RAW. So just something to think about, Olympus gods, please. Please, please make it happen. And another hate is that this flap right here, this is in the way when I put the flap in front and I do the swivel screen, and it's just messes with the swivel screen. And then along with that is when I'm trying to do the swivel screen, guess what's blocking the swivel screen? This headphone jack. I would think that it would be easier. And again, Olympus gods, maybe even Panasonic gods, please take the headphone jack and put it in the front or something, or take the headphone jack and put it on the bottom like this. So that way, when we use the swivel screen, it's all good. It doesn't block anything. So if you can make that happen, you are literally real, well, you're just engineers who are amazing. Yeah, you won't be gods, sorry, but it is what it is, right? We're all humans. And the last thing I hate about this camera is the time-lapse feature. It's so limiting. I mean, like, you can only get 7, 20, 30 frames per second. I mean, like, that's laughable. It's just sad. Again, I get it. It's 2019 and there's so many more features that's been put on other cameras, and this camera came out in around, I think, 2015. So I get it, but it's just like the GH4 came out before that, and it has all these awesome time-lapse features where you can shoot just the time-lapse photos, or you can shoot all the, it'll save, the GH4 will save all the photos, make a time-lapse video, or it just saves a time-lapse video and there are no photos. So if Olympus can implement that in the next generation, I think it would be amazing. So here are some things we can debate and some of my recommendations. I know I've thrown out a bunch of recommendations before, but here are some more recommendations for the Olympus gods. The menu is just like really chaotic. The first two, I totally get. First and second, I'm like, oh, I get it. And when I get to that third item in the menu, I'm just like, okay, what did I just walk into? And I get it. It took me like 4 days to get used to the menu. I just didn't understand how Olympus is thinking. And I get it, new system, you gotta learn something new, I get it. So I was willing to embrace it and learn it. But I think it's a little chaotic. I think if you can model yours like Canon, I think Canon does a really good job. Panasonic does a good job, but not as good as Canon. And if you can be like Blackmagic, where you can just like really simplify it, you're like real gods, Olympus people. You would be real gods. Something we can debate, and I'm using this as a recommendation, is why is manual mode not able to go into auto ISO for video, particularly in video? I don't understand that. Why are we not allowed to set auto ISO in manual mode for video? If you know anything, leave it in the comments below, because I'm just clueless. I just like, why isn't that feature even in there? It's so useful. Something we can also debate is the battery life, and I find it to be pretty good. And not amazing, not like the GH4 where it lasts just like forever, ever. But the Olympus battery for the EM5 Mark II is pretty good. I do recommend that if you invest in one, get 2 batteries. The one thing I don't quite understand is the live view boost. I mean, I just leave it off. I just leave everything off for live view boost. I find it very useless. So if you have a unique way of using live view boost, please leave it in the comments below because I would like to learn from you. It's just something I just find so useless that I just leave it off. I don't run into situations where I would use that. So educate me, please, down below. Thank you. Another thing that can be debatable because I kind of like and hate is the twisting of the dial. The way I place my thumb, I constantly accidentally twist dials for no reason. If there was like a lock feature for those dials, when I have my settings and I just want to shoot without having to worry about accidentally twisting the dial and messing up my exposure, please make that happen. And if you know there is a feature like that in here, because I've looked and then I've looked and then I've looked, because you know that menu is not the most friendly menu, I just can't find it. If you know where it is and there's like a lock feature for the dials, please put it in the comments because I find that so annoying when I'm like accidentally twisting my dials all the time when I'm shooting in the field. Thank you. Another thing that could be debatable, that could be like gimmicky, but I actually kind of like it, is the collage mode. The collage mode it's cute. I really like that feature because think of it this way. If someone was not a designer, but they just want something that's nice and they've shot and they don't have to go into like Photoshop or Lightroom to make a small collage and then export it and then put it in their video or share it with their friends on social media or whatever, they can just shoot collages and then the original photos are also saved. That's so cool. I think it's a cool feature. You might think it's gimmicky, but I think it's a really cool feature to use because when I vlog and I want to show photos, I just shoot the collages, 16:9 options, and then I would just put it in my video without having to go through a lot of editing or taking it into other software and then exporting and then putting in my vlog. I think it's a great feature. Olympus, thumbs up for you. Again, it could be debatable. Some people might not like that. They think it's gimmicky. Another thing that can be debatable is there's only 1 card slot. I know it's not the flagship camera. I get it. But 2 card slots would be nice. But I get it. The size might get bigger. So I really like this camera the way it is now. But if you can incorporate that card slot, that extra card slot, yeah? Okay. All right, well, that's all I've got to say. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And if you like this video and found it useful, yeah, ding, 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 yeah. I mean, if you hit it 3 times, I guess if you hit it 3 times, there'll still be a like. And don't forget to subscribe because I have more content coming out, mostly vlogs. And then there's also, I'm thinking about starting a Teach It To Me Tuesday kind of thing. If you think that's cool, let me know in the comment section below. Teach It To Me Tuesday, yeah. And don't forget, if you buy anything, use the links down below. I'll get a small commission, and that commission goes straight to my classroom because there are a lot of things that break and I need to fix in my classroom, especially gears, tripods, you know, so on and so forth. I work with high school students and you have to understand, some of them are not as careful no matter how much I tell them to be careful, and they still break equipment. So please, if you can support my classroom by purchasing using the links down below, and it doesn't matter what you buy, you click the link, you go buy something, I get a small commission, and that goes to my classroom. Thank you very much. Without further ado, I just want to say goodbye with a rock, paper, peace. Let's hang out again in the next video.